celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Live on tape from Bolero Roswell in Roswell, Georgia, just up the road from Atlanta in the Peach State. This is Coach Randy, welcoming you to episode 117 of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, the 2020 George Washington Open. You know, in my lifetime, we used to celebrate both George Washington and Abraham Lincoln's birthdays with separate holidays. But some genius in our nation's capital decided we were too busy for two holidays, and they consolidated both into President's Day. But I figured since we were recording today's episode of Prodigy on the birthday of the father of our country, the least we could do was name today's episode in his honor. 6 of our Prodigy kids went to the starting gate, and I cannot tell a lie. I'm a softie when it comes to such things. I just don't like holding a qualifier and then telling just one of our contestants, you don't get to play on the show today. So I decided to let all 6 on the telecast. All 6 make up an extended stepladder today. So let's meet the finalists. In the first match, our number 6 qualifier, Hunter Moffitt, will face the player who qualified 5th, Nolan Kemp. Hunter has pretty much owned Nolan in the times they've met on Prodigy, and today, Nolan would like to exact a bit of revenge. The winner of that opening match will face our 4th-ranked player, Jesse Hamadi. Jesse doesn't bowl Prodigy all that often, and this is his first appearance since bowling 299 in league a few weeks ago. The winner of that match will challenge our number 3 qualifier, Tristan Davis. Tristan's been away recently bowling in tournaments, but today he made a strong bid in the qualifier. The player who survives that match will go against our 2nd place qualifier, Christian Manel. Christian bowled the highest game in the event today in the 2nd qualifying game to jettison up the leaderboard into the 2nd position. And the winner of that match will bowl for the championship today against our tournament leader, Aiden Bailey. Aiden made his first appearance on Prodigy last week at the 2020 Thin Mints Open and is back for more today. He is 1 win away from putting his name on the coveted trophy pin. And that's our field today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Here's how the qualifier went down. Aiden Bailey threw down the gauntlet right from the outset, firing a strong 237 game in the opening game. Nolan Kemp seized 2nd place with a 223 and even had a chance to overtake Aiden in the 10th frame. Tristan Davis was the 3rd player in the 200s in that opening game. Then in Game 2, Christian made a strong bid to move up the leaderboard when he caught fire and threw a 243. Jesse Hamadi also closed ground on the leaders, but couldn't quite overtake Tristan Davis, who remained steady with another game in the 200s. No one was more steady than Hunter Moffitt, who threw back-to-back 192 games, but that would only get him to 6th place in this strong field of 6. But since all 6 players make the show, it's in Hunter's hands to make the most of this opportunity. As we move to the opening match of our stepladder finals, Hunter is still looking for his first Prodigy title of the season, and he'll have to do what his buddy Josh did last week and run the ladder if he wants to get to the winner's circle. But today, there's no handicap to help. His opponent, Nolan Kemp, is hungry as well, and Hunter has pretty much had his way with Nolan every time they've met on Prodigy. And Nolan is about ready to reverse that trend right here, right now. Nolan was the higher finisher, so he had the choice of starting lanes, and he has elected to start the match. He wants to finish last. Whoa, a little swisher action. That 5-pin nearly stood up, but It went down. Watch this. He's playing straight up the second arrow. We're bowling on the house shot today. Just a simple down and in shot. Look at that 5-pin. It almost got stood back up. Hunter Brooklyn with that one gets a reverse blower. A little lucky that time, but a couple of strikes to start the match, and we're even. That's more like what he's looking for. Watch this. This is the line he's playing. About 15 at the arrows, out to about 9 or 10, and steamrolls them. Well, that time Nolan came in a little light, and now he's got the spare we call the bucket, or the dinner bucket, the 2, 4, 5, 8. Hit it between the 2 and 5, let the ball drive through and carry out that sleeper 8 in the back. Playing it down the right side of the lane, you've got to be a little careful that you don't chop the 2 off the 5. But he doesn't get up quite enough to drive out the back pin, and so sends the 2 around the 4, and we have an open frame in the second. And Nolan hands Hunter a 24-pin advantage. Still early. And that was actually a very similar hit to the one he had in the first frame, where the 5-pin nearly got stood back up. This time it blows over in front of the 7, and he leaves the 7-pin. He'll go cross lane at this. I wouldn't expect Nolan will have any problem with this. And down it goes. I think it's safe to expect the scores to be pretty good today. They're bowling on the house shot. Pretty easy condition. Well, Hunter throwing his IQ Tour Emerald that time. You would expect that would hook a little more. He was playing a little farther inside, but it came up light and left the 2-7. Of all the baby splits for a right-hander, this one's the easiest. And he shows us exactly how to make it. Really, you just shoot the 2-7 as if you're throwing at the 4-pin. Get the left side of the 2-pin, let the ball deflect over into the 7. Nothing to it. Well, he moved in a little further that time on the left lane and got the light shaker. A little wall shot action here. Watch the head pin. It'll go to the left wall and come back and do the damage on the 4, 5, and 7. Big loft. Trying to delay the hook, maybe. Sometimes you delay the hook a little too much, and it never quite gets into the roll you want it to. Such was the case that time, and Nolan leaves another blower 7. Once again, I would expect him to cover this with ease. And he does. But I have a feeling that today spares are not going to be the winning strategy. We always stress the importance of spares to keep you in the match, but when the scoring conditions are pretty easy and the scores are going to be high, as I expect they might be today, you need strikes. Oh boy. Well, that's just a leave you don't see very often in this modern day of reactive resin bowling balls. And this is a really strong ball too, the hypercell fuse, but that ball deflects so far to the right. And I can tell you, I put my hand on that ball and it's got a lot of oil on the surface. Nolan's had that ball for a couple years now, and I'm willing to bet he's never had it deep cleaned. Right in the pocket for Hunter. We talk about deep cleaning reactive resin balls. They feel smooth on the outside, but at a microscopic level, they have little holes in them. The surface is porous on just about all bowling balls, really. And as the ball rolls down the lane, it picks up oil. You see the little rings of oil when the ball comes back. That oil will seep down into the holes, the pores, if you will, of a bowling ball. And over a period of time, those pores fill up with oil. And the ball loses its reaction. A ball will actually pretty much die if you don't give it a deep cleaning about every, every 100 or so games. See, Nolan needs to hit high flush like that to get all the pins to go down. He's a fairly low rev player to begin with. And when the ball is not doing its part, he depends on a solid hit like that to get all the pins to go down. Take your bowling ball down to the pro shop, tell him it needs a deep cleaning to get the oil out. And most pro shops will do it for about 30, 35 bucks, something in that area. And again, a 5-pin is just not a lead you would ever expect with a ball as strong as this hypercell fuse. You see Nolan's fingers on the top half of the ball. You want your fingers down below the equator. That's where all the power is. That's why Nolan is a low rev player. The ball deflects around the 5, and, well, the old saying is no drive, no 5. And that's the result. And Hunter, with 5 strikes and 6 frames, is having his way with Nolan once again. Light this time. A 2-4-5. Certainly not a gimme spare. Got to be careful with this. A little easier than the bucket because the 8-pin isn't up. Hunter gets away with hitting it on the left side of the 2-pin and gets the spare. And he gets away with a Brooklyn this time. He's got all the shots working. Well, Nolan, I'd say you're going to have to take it off the sheet here. Strikeout for 202. Well, that's out the window. Still got room for 191 if he makes this and strikes out. If he were to strike out in the 9th and 10th, he would still need Hunter to pretty much foul the rest of the way. And a week 10, and his chances are getting slimmer and slimmer with each non-strike. Nolan started with a strike, got another one in the 6th, but just the 2 strikes. And that open is going to put an end to this. Hunter has won this opening match without even breaking a sweat. Another thin hit on lane 40. The 2-5. I'd rather see these kids play it down the left side of the lane where there's less of an angle to chop the 2 off the 5. But he gets it. Well, Hunter just wants to stay in stroke. As he gets a light shaker in the 10th frame and gives it a big fist pump. There's a 10 pin. So Hunter's going to finish in the 220s. Nolan going ahead to finish out. Leaves the 2. A disappointing game for Nolan, I know, but he'll be back. And that's a 225 for Hunter. So Nolan with a strike on the fill ball will finish with 159. Not the game he had hoped to bowl, that's for sure. And he'll just go through the motions and finish this out. Oop. Well, all right, it's going to be 149 for Nolan, but Hunter has won match 1, and now he moves on to face Jesse Hamadi in our second match coming up.
The ball, Brunswick's custom LTD, the finest bowling ball in the world. The bowler, Pro Dave Sutar, 3-time All-American. Put them together. The ball, Brunswick's custom LTD, custom top weights to help raise your score. The bowler, Joe Lindstrom, just a guy who loves bowling. Put them together.
Even if you're not a pro, bowl with the best. Brunswick's custom LTD.
Hey, that's my ball too.
Shouldn't it be yours?
Is bowling a fun sport? No, unless of course one's got the go to play it.
And smart bowlers get their go with Cheerios. Tasty, toasty O's of oats. The grain with the most protein and vitamin B1. More than corn. More than rice. More than wheat. Cheerios help muscles grow, grow, grow.
Gives you go, go, go. So, as you prepare to throw, remember, big G, little O. Go, go, go with Cheerios. But watch where you're going.
So Hunter continues his dominance over Nolan on Prodigy Bowlers Tour with a resounding 225 to 149 victory. Nolan will have to wait for another day to put a stop to his losing streak against Hunter. But for now, Hunter Moffett is moving on to match 2, where he'll face Jesse Hamadi. Jesse has won once on Prodigy, but it was a doubles event where he was partnered with Christopher Nathanson. Jesse is still looking for his first solo win on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And as we mentioned earlier, Hunter is looking for his first win of this season on Prodigy. I know they both want to win, but only one will come out of this match with a chance to reach the winner's circle today. Jesse again with the option, and he has chosen to finish last, so he'll throw the first ball. And he makes it count. Solid strike to begin. See his style. It's like he creeps up on the foul line, and then he just unleashes it. Good one. Hunter just a pinch high with that one. Pretty good ball. Just high enough that he leaves the 4. When you hit just fractionally high, it sends the 2-pin around the 4-pin. But he gets the spare, and we're all even through 1. Jesse just turned 17 a couple of weeks ago. Hunter is 12. Ringing 10. Good ball. And he gives a little facetious yay to show his displeasure over that one. You know, even when you leave a ring in 10, that ball has deflected a little too much. When the ball deflects too much as it enters the 1-3 pocket, it causes the 3-pin to hit the 6 at a somewhat different angle, and it sends the 6 around the 10 rather than into the wall and back to chop out the 10. We're talking fractions of an inch. But when you watch the ball go through the pins, rather than noticing where the ball enters the pocket, what you want to notice is where the ball exits the back of the pin deck. Now watch Jesse's ball. It's not going to deflect so much to the right. It's going to drive through, and it finishes to the left of the 9-pin. When Hunter left the 10-pin, the ball finished behind the 9 or even slightly to the right of it as it left the back of the pin deck. Don't pay so much attention to where the ball hits the pocket. Pay attention to where the ball leaves the pins in the back. That'll tell you a lot more about how that ball was rolling. See, that ball deflected a little bit to the right. And as a result, a ring in 10. When you leave a weak 10, it deflects even more. Jesse will go with his plastic spare ball to convert this. Well, that was the plan anyway. But he misses a little to the right, and that one drops off into Never Never Land. So, with that mistake, Jesse hands the lead back to Hunter. But Hunter with an errant shot here in the 3rd. And now he's left the 2, 4, 10. Put the ball on the left side of the 2, slide it over into the 10. The ball will get the 4. Pretty good try. Just got a little too much of the 2-pin. So Hunter hands the lead right back to Jesse with that open frame. Right now, the only difference in this match is the double Jesse got in the first 2 frames. Hunter with a strike in the 4th. That was solid. See his footwork, 6 steps. He uses 6 steps to generate some forward momentum. As he grows, He may stick with 6 steps. He may decide to go to 5. He may not need the extra forward momentum to generate ball speed like he has while he's been a little guy. There you go. That's how you chop out the 10-pin. And it elicits some applause from the peanut gallery down to the left. Now watch this ball go through the pins. That ball deflects a little bit, but it was just enough going through that it sent the 6 into the wall, where it bounced back out and chopped out the 10-pin. Another 1/16 of an inch to the right, and that might have been a ringing 10. Well, Jesse just missed on that one, and he's looking down at his fingers, and he says he's bleeding. Okay, the 1-2-8. Here's how you make it. We don't need any bloodletting going on the lanes. Looks like Jesse's got a little blood coming from the edge of his fingernail. That can be very disturbing to a player. Look out! An unforced error, and it could be that what's going on with his finger may have just gotten between his ears. You see, he's still looking at it. Might want to put some new skin on there. Oh my goodness. Well, that's a terrible break. Hunter hit right in that area where you would expect a wall shot, but instead he knocks out the 4 and leaves the 5-7. Here's how you make it. Move your feet 3 boards to the left from your strike setup and throw your strike ball over the strike target. He's going with his plastic ball. And misses to the right. So they keep exchanging open frames on the odd-numbered frames. Oh, we nearly saw our second 8-10 on lane 39. I start seeing 8-10s on one lane. I start wondering if maybe we're getting bad racks. But the 8 goes out late. And Hunter converts the spare. But Jesse now with a 14-pin advantage as he heads toward the back stretch here. He struck every time on lane 40. But not this time. That one wide of the mark, and he leaves the double wood, 2-8. You've got to make sure and not let the ball cross the midpoint of the 2-pin, or you'll send the 2 to the right and the ball will deflect to the left and you'll leave the 8. You've either got to hit it flush in the front or somewhat on the right side as the ball will drive through and get the sleeper 8. Like that. Well done. Now he hit so far on the right side that if that had been a lighter ball, it might not have been flush enough. The ball still might have deflected to the right, but Jesse throws 15 pounds, I believe, so that's plenty to drive on through. When you're shooting double wood, if you're throwing a light ball, chances are you're going to need to hit pretty solid in the face of the pin in front, but you just got to be careful and not cross over to the left side if you're right-handed. He hates it, although I don't know why. When he let that one go, he looked away as if he didn't like it off his hand. Watch this again. See if we can pick up his gesture with his face. He looks away like, nope. But it held pocket. He must have felt like he pulled it. There you go. That's the kind of strike Hunter's looking for. We'll take another look at it here. Watch the action of the 6-pin. The second one from the right. It'll hit the right wall and then come back and chop out the 10. Oh, he could have used another one there. That would have cut the lead to 4, but instead, this time he leaves the 10-pin. He's got his T-zone. That's a plastic spare ball. They use plastic to throw it straight. Oh, but he pulled it. Pulled it. Missed it by a foot. That's not like Hunter. But now Jesse is given a gift, a 26-pin lead, and he has a strike up in the 7th. He can run away and hide now. Well, you don't want to give a player of Jesse's ability that kind of opening. Watch this again. This is a pretty similar strike to the one that Hunter got on lane 40 a moment ago. Watch the 6-pin again. That is just about 1/8 of an inch away from being a ringing 10. But that 6-pin comes off the wall and knocks the 10 inward. And there's another one just like it. And now the lead is 46, and Hunter's got his back to the wall. And that's going to just about do it there. Hunter with a spare and 3 strikes in the 10th would shoot 169. Jesse's sitting at 165 right now if he fouls out. So Hunter's got to strike out and hope for Jesse to have a meltdown. And that is going to put an end to this. So Hunter's attempt to run the stepladder today is going to come up short. As he falls to Jesse, that spare attempt pretty much moot, as Jesse already had the match in hand. And so Jesse will go through the motions of formalizing this and throwing the last few balls in the 10th. Possible 225 with 3 strikes. And there's the first one. Well, while we have a moment, I need to remind you that next week we will not be taping an episode of Prodigy on the 29th of February. The Bowling Center has a big event for a police group booked. And the following week, there's a big tournament across town. A lot of the youth tournament bowlers will be at that, so I'm not sure we'll have enough for a quorum that day. So the next date certain for a Prodigy taping will be March 14th, which puts our next release on March 20th. Ten-pin stops him, so Jesse will finish in the 2 teens. Keep that right arm loose, Jesse. You're going to need it. spare here for 214. And he tries to throw a little backup ball, backs up a little too much. 213 to 147. It's Jesse Hamadi who survives match 2, and he will face Tristan Davis in match 3.
Introducing Rage from Columbia 300. Let it out.
Well, once again, Hunter Moffitt's bid to get back to the winner's circle for the first time this season comes up short as he bows to Jesse Hamadi 213 to 147. But Hunter is persistent and will have plenty of chances to qualify for the Prodigy TOC before the season is done. But right now, Jesse climbs a step closer to his first solo title on Prodigy. His next opponent in match 3 is as steady as they come. Tristan Davis rarely beats himself, and Jesse will need to bring his A game if he wants to get past Tristan. It's always interesting to see which option they choose to exercise. In this case, Tristan, being the higher qualifier, had the choice, and he wants to finish first. So Jesse's going to throw the first ball in this match. Man, he starts with a ripper. We call this the swisher strike, or the ripper. Watch this. He's going to hit in the half pocket. Not quite high enough on the head pin to be a solid pocket hit, but the 5 pin whistles over and gets the 7. The swisher. And Tristan with a similar hit mixes them up on the left side of the rack. And he too with a strike to begin. We'll get a second look at this. Out to about 5 at the break point. Hits light. Head pin goes to the left wall and mixes them up. Hit them thin and watch them spin. All even through 1. Not as wide with that one, but solid in the pocket. And no doubt about that one. About the only thing he could possibly have left on this hit was maybe a stone 8. Don't even think in those terms. Jesse wiping down that black urethane ball. He's throwing his black hammer urethane. This is the same ball he shot .299 with on this same pair in league a couple of weeks ago. Throwing a lot of shots like that. Can't do it any better. Watch this, 5-step approach, big move to the left with his second step. That's the way all the power players do it these days. And he splits the 8 and 9. Jesse started bowling league in our homeschool league in the daytime, switched to our Saturday morning youth program a few years ago, and he's really become a good player. Gets the shaker to go there for a turkey to start the match. So now Tristan back up on lane 40. Tristan told me he'd rather bowl on a sport shot than on the house shot. Now there's a weak 10 pin. We talked about it earlier when the ball deflects a little bit when it hits the pocket. The 3 hits the 6 at a slightly different angle, and it goes into the gutter and just dies there. He'll go cross lane at the 10. And he turned away before it got halfway down the lane. He knew he'd pulled it. You don't see Tristan miss easy spares very often. But that's an unforced error, and now he hands Jesse a 23-pin advantage. Pulled it. That never had a chance. Well, you know, sometimes a player who knows the strikes are going to be coming, scores are going to be high, when they make a mistake like Tristan did in the third, missing the 10 pin, they'll press a little bit trying to make something happen, and then usually nothing good comes of that. A little better shot there as he converts the 5. An easy spare anyway. But now Jesse up on the right lane. And he is taking his sweet time, having to wipe something off his shoe. Really being deliberate today. But he makes it worth the wait with a shot like that. We'll take a second look at that one as he goes into his squat, and then he begins his creep to the foul line, lets it go. This one gets out to about 10 and sweeps him off the pin deck. 10 in the pit. And Jesse extends his lead to 33 over Tristan now. And make it 43 if he gets another strike here in the 5th. Pretty good pass at that one. Just got around it a little too much. You want to try to keep your hand behind the ball as long as you can. You get a more powerful roll that'll drive through the pins stronger if you stay behind the ball. Get around it sometimes. It never quite gets into a roll. The ball has to go through 3 stages. It'll skid in the fronts of the lane, and then in the mids it begins to hook, and then it goes into a roll at the very end, and it has to go into all three phases or you don't get an effective shot. That time it looked like that ball never quite got into a roll. It's because he got around it too much. Goes to the bag for a spare ball to convert the 10 and takes care of it. Now Tristan back up on the right lane. Needs to start stringing them. That's a good way to get a string going. That is just a perfect strike. The way you draw it up, you hit the right side of the head pin, and the 1 will get the 2 will get the 4 will get the 7. Watch this. This is a textbook strike. That's the way it's done. And another one. That's what you got to do. String them to cut into the lead. So Jesse's lead is now down to 22. Here's Tristan's footwork. That's pretty textbook too. And his best shot of the match so far. Jesse solid in the hole with that one. Nearly left a stone 8. Watch this. Watch as the ball drives through the pins. It'll take the 5 straight back off the 8 and just barely ticks the 8 going by. Just got it to go. That's 5 strikes and 6 frames for Jesse. How about 6 strikes and 7 frames? And he has really got this pair of lanes measured. Watch his footwork. The big step to the left on his second step. That's pretty common nowadays with power players. All right, now Tristan. Oh my goodness. Well, he had 4 strikes and 6 frames and had really only made 1 mistake this whole match when he missed the 10 pin in the 3rd. Then he crossed over in the 4th, left the 5 pin. He made it, but a pocket 7-10. And you'd like to get at least one of those pins to save some count. But now Tristan has dug himself a hole. He's 48 pins in arrears. Tristan will turn 18 this summer, which means this is his last year in Youth League. USBC changing its rules effective this fall. And once you've turned 18 before August 1st, you are no longer eligible to bowl in Youth League. Watch this shot. This is another good one by Tristan. Over about 14 at the arrows, out to about 9 at the break point, and see you later, pins. Tristan bowls in a lot of tournaments. They're almost all on sport shots. He's grown so familiar with bowling on sport shots now that he feels that he's at a disadvantage when he's bowling on a house shot, because he can throw the big numbers sometimes on sport shots, not so much on the house shot. Tristan will kill you with 2 10s and 2 20s on the house shot, but he doesn't throw that many 250s, 260s, 270s, although he throws more of them than he lets on. I've seen him do it. Here's another solid strike by Jesse. Swings it out to about 9 at the break point. slaps out the 10. Jesse's really got it going. That's 7 strikes in 8 frames. Just the one weak 10 in the 5th. And there's another one in the 9th. Stretching his legs. Once again, he goes to this plastic ball to go cross lane at the corner pin. And make short work of it. Tristan a possible 221 if he takes it off the sheet. There's one. Problem is that even if he does strike out in the 10th and shoot 221, Jesse's already sitting at 218. If he throws the rest of his shots in the gutter, which I don't expect him to do. Well, I think Tristan has found it now. Send it out a little wider, it'll come back a little stronger. And you can tell by Tristan's gesture that he's like, yeah, it would have been nice to have found that about 7 frames ago. So one more here in the 12th, and that'll be a 221 for Tristan. Oh, he throws this one two-handed. And gets 6. Well, that ends it. Had Tristan struck, he could have held out hope that Jesse might have, I don't know, fouled or hit his ankle or something. You never know what's going to happen. But that short count at the end hands the match to Jesse. He already has 208 in the 8th with a spare up in the 9th, so he's sitting at 218 if he were to foul out. But instead, he gets another strike. He's really got it going. This is reminiscent of what he did in league on this same pair of lanes a few weeks ago. I believe it was the 25th of January when he bowled his 299. It was the 3rd game of league on 39 and 40, this same pair of lanes. He was using the same ball. Gets a light mixer to go. That'll put him in the 250s. Barring a gutter ball or something crazy here at the end. Tristan clearing out his equipment. Strike here for 258. How about that? A strong game by Jesse will end Tristan's day and send Jesse Hamadi to match 4, where he'll face our number 2 seed, Christian Manel. Now, bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your bowling center with Prodigy Bowlers Tour t-shirts and sportswear, including collared shirts with the Prodigy logo printed on the back to show that you support junior bowling. Check out the entire assortment of Prodigy t-shirts in the Brownswick store. Visit PRODIGYBowlersTour.com to see the selection. See the ash gray Celebrating Junior Bowling, Elevating Junior Bowlers t-shirt, or the Who Will Win the Coveted Trophy Pin t-shirt. Or maybe you'd want the one that says, I've come to get my bowl on, right on the front of the shirt, or simply, Bowl Me. There's a t-shirt that says, Bowling. You probably don't get it because it's mainly for smart people. And if you're a proud parent with a junior bowler, we've got a t-shirt just for you. And how about this t-shirt? You're bowling an 8th grader. Prepare to meet defeat. Available in grades 1 through 9, most in both adult and kid sizes. And finally, the shirt that reads, Bowl better, have more fun, take lessons. Then maybe you can keep up with me. The Brownswick store is powered by the people at Cafe Press, and all of these shirts are available right now. Just go to PRODIGYBowlersTour.com and click on the link to be taken right to the store. PayPal and credit cards accepted. That's PRODIGYBowlersTour.com. Get your bowl on and bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your house. Order now. Go to PRODIGYBowlersTour.com. That's PRODIGYBowlersTour.com. A stunning display of precision shot making as Jesse Hamadi put up 10 strikes on his way to a 258 game. Tristan Davis didn't bowl a bad game. He only missed the pocket once in the 4th frame when he crossed over and left the 5-pin, which he made. The only real mistake Tristan made all game was missing the 10-pin in the 3rd. But when someone puts 10 strikes on you, there's really no margin for error. So it's Jesse Hamadi who advances to match 4, where he'll face our number 2 qualifier, Christian Minnell, for the right to bowl for the championship against Aiden Bailey. Jesse and Christian are teammates in our Roswell Varsity League. Christian was there when Jesse threw his 299 game on this same pair of lanes a few weeks ago, so he knows full well what Jesse can do when he gets on a roll. There's no defense in bowling, so Christian knows he's just going to have to bring it this game if he wants to get to the championship match. Christian likes to know what he needs at the end, so he's going to finish last. That means he'll throw the opening toss. Boo! You hear him say, awesome! Well, that's not so awesome. The Big 4, the 4, 6, 7, 10. It's only been made on television once by Walter Ray Williams Jr. here in Atlanta, actually. Just down the road at our sister house, Bolero Norcross. But that's an open frame for Christian to start. Not what he had in mind. And knowing the way Jesse's bowling, don't want to give him an opening this early. On the other hand, I suppose you'd rather get it out of the way early than do it at the end. Well, there's that soft 10 that we've seen Jesse leave a couple of times in the last match. The only 2 non-strikes he had the whole match were that very same hit. What happens, we talked about it earlier, the ball deflects a little bit. And the 3 hits the 6 at just such an angle that it goes into the gutter and just dies. He covers the spare, though. So Jesse takes an early 12-pin lead in this match 4. These two are teammates. in our Roswell Varsity League. So they bowl with each other each week. And it doesn't matter what team they're bowling against, they are always the last to finish. And I don't know if it's all this chit-chat between them. I know Jesse is really taking his time today, but I've never noticed him do that before. How about that one? Yeah. Get that pin spinning around on the pin deck. Watch this again. I think we'll get a look at Jesse's reaction to it. That's right. That's exactly how it went down. So, Christian, it's on you, buddy. But a light hit leaves the 2. At least the 10 went down. We've seen Christian leave more 210s on Prodigy in the last couple of years than I know he would care to count. There's a spare. He's on the board with a mark. And these two just going at each other. All right, Christian, we're wasting valuable network time. Let's get on with it. I think we may have discovered why their team is always the last to finish. Light hit, shakes them up, down they go. Although I don't know if Christian is even paying attention enough to notice, this ball kind of flattened out at the end. Watch this. It doesn't keep climbing at the end like he'd like. That ball actually deflected around the 5-pin. He's either throwing it too hard, or it could be that all this play with Jesse's urethane ball is creating some carry down, and that could prove problematic for Christian if he doesn't figure out a way around it. We'll keep an eye on that and see if Christian can make some kind of adjustment. He got away with it that time. That was way out to the right. And he brings that urethane ball back, catches a double. And now Jesse's lead climbs to 22 pins. Gets into that squat. And does a little pirouette for us. I don't know what that's about. But they're having fun. Well, it's a whole lot more fun when you throw a lot of strikes. I can tell you that much. I don't need to do a pirouette to know that. All right, Christian. Got a strike working. He needs to catch one here to cut into that lead. There it is. That's what he's looking for. Watch the 6-pin, the second one from the right. It's going to go to the right wall, come back off the wall, and just get the 10 as it flies around, knocking it inward. Perfect. That's not so perfect. Pulled that one about an arrow. One thing he's got to be careful of with this circle 8 swing that he's developed to try to straighten out his swing plane is if he gets it too far outside, if he doesn't reroute it at the top, it's just going to come back down out to in. That one nearly hooked by. Previously, he was wrapping the ball behind his back, and we made the correction by getting him to swing it back on the outside, but then he drops it on the inside coming down. It works great when he does it, but if he doesn't drop that ball on the inside, it's just going to come down from the outside and go in, and it'll cause a big, huge pull like we saw on that first ball in the 5th. All right, now Jesse with 3 strikes up. That one comes in a little thin. He almost got that mixing action on the left, but the 4 takes out the 5, and the 5 doesn't go over and get the 7 like it was programmed to do. So he'll shoot for the 7 pin. Well, now, that's why they paint them. Now watch this. He is just barely going to get this 7 pin. Little body English helps sometimes. All right. Halfway through the match, Jesse has opened up a 23-pin lead. I don't know if we're ever going to get to the end of this match the way these two are just kibitzing with one another. Oh, he ripped that one extra hard at the bottom. And then gives us another 4 tops move. That was a solid strike for Jesse. All right, Christian, time to get busy. That's a good one. He needs several more of those to get back in this. Watch it again. Gets this out to about 6 at the break point. And sweeps him off the pin deck. He needs to string a few here. No. 6 flies around the 10. The solid 10. Man. He doesn't seem all that upset by it. And now Josh, the lane guy, walking back on the catwalk while Christian is throwing this. I would have waited. Josh, the lane guy, he likes to do that to Christian. But I tell you what, for me, if I'm on the approach and I catch something out of the corner of my eye, I am putting the ball down and waiting. Didn't seem to bother Christian, though. I'll tell you what will bother him is if Jesse gets up here and throws a couple more strikes. Jesse has a 23-pin lead with a strike working. And now he's got a 33-pin lead with 2 strikes working. Yeah, Jesse's having fun. I tell you what, he had 10 strikes the last game. He's got 5 strikes in 7 frames so far this game. It's fun when it seems like every ball you throw is just going to find a way to knock all 10 pins down. Oh, he pulled that one, and it's set in the pocket. Well, that's the nature of the house shot. It helps to guide the ball there. Let's take a 3-up look at his last 3 frames on the left lane. They all look pretty similar. Every one of them solid in the pocket. Now the 3 deep look, where those 3 shots are laid on top of one another. The strikes all look the same, although his path back to the settee area decidedly different. Boom. Solid strike for Christian. But now he needs 4 more of those. That outside to in circle 8 swing works to perfection that time. But now he needs another strike. But comes in thin, and once again, we saw this earlier on lane 39. The ball just quit on him at the end. I think he may be throwing it a little too hard, but whatever the reason, it's not facing up like he'd like. And now he's in trouble. The best Christian can do is 206. Jesse's going at a 239 pace. He just needs to keep from melting down here at the end. And he ought to be able to walk this one in. Another strike here in the 9th, and he'll have this one locked up. And that'll do it. Jesse shuts out Christian with that one. So it's going to be Jesse and Aiden in the championship match. A reminder once again, we are not taping a Prodigy Bowlers Tour episode this weekend, Saturday, February 29th, because the bowling center is booked with an event Saturday afternoon. The following week, I'm just not sure that we'll have enough kids to hold a Prodigy, as a lot of the tournament players in the area will be at Southern Lanes for a bowling tournament. So our next certain date for taping will be March 14th, which means our next episode that you'll see on YouTube will drop on March 20th. Now there's another light shaker for Jesse. He's got all the shots working. See this again. Watch the head pin go to the left wall. It'll do all the damage on the left side of the rack. It'll take out the 4, 5, and 7. Mixes them up. And he gets another wall shot. He can do no wrong, it seems. He shot 258 the last game. And with a strike here in the 12th, he would get 269 this game. That's what I call lighting it up. I don't care how easy the shot is. House shot, an easy sports shot. Heck, you could dig a trough in the lane from the foul line to the pocket. You'd still have a hard time carrying that many strikes.
You got mail.
But Jesse makes it look easy today. And Christian will just go through the formality of finishing out. Well, he's left a few of those this game. Not much you can do. Christian's actually bowled pretty well this match, but he made one or two errant shots, but well, there's another one, but it doesn't really matter at this point. It's Jesse Hamadi who's moving on to the championship match. He'll bowl Aiden Bailey for the right to sign the coveted trophy pin. Hey Prodigy Land, it's me, Coach Randy, with a big thank you to all our Prodigy patrons. I know you hear me come on here every week and ask you to become a Prodigy patron, but it really does help. Believe it or not, I'm not retired, but a lot of the time I could be spending cultivating new clients for my voiceover business. I spend editing Prodigy most weeks. The show actually takes between 35 and 40 hours to edit. It really is a full-time job. And in order to justify spending my time doing that instead of, well, working, I really need to replace some of that income. Otherwise, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So the fact that there are so many of you willing to kick in a few bucks a month helps more than you know. If you want to show your support for the creative work that goes into producing this show about 30 weeks a year, just log on to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and sign up. This year I simplified the tier system and it's super easy and affordable. For just $5 a month, you'll get early access to all our full-length episodes of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. That means while the general public typically gets the show on Fridays, you won't have to wait all the way till Friday to watch it. You'll usually get it on Thursday. And for just $10 a month, not only do you get early access to each full-length episode of Prodigy, but you even get your name listed in the end credits as one of the show's executive producers. Like being a big-time Hollywood movie mogul. Except you're not. You're a Prodigy Bowlers Tour executive producer. But hey, that's something. Anyway, if you're already a Prodigy patron, I want to express my sincere gratitude for your support. And if you're not a Prodigy patron, you can become one today. Just click over to patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and become a Prodigy patron right now. It'll make your teeth whiter, your batteries last longer, and your friends will like you even more. Okay, I made that last part up. But you might feel a sense of ownership when you watch Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Thanks again for being a Prodigy head. Well, Christian Manel just ran into a buzzsaw that last match. It is a helpless feeling when you know you're throwing good shots, but you just can't carry while your opponent is just burying you in strikes. But it is a wondrous thing to watch a bowler when they're in dead stroke. That's back-to-back 10-strike games for Jesse. In his 30 frames bowled thus far in the stepladder finals, he has thrown 27 strikes. To be honest with you, I'm not sure what the scoring record for 4 games is on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. We haven't had that many kids run the stepladder and bowl 4 games on a show, and certainly not while racking up scores like Jesse has thrown these last 2 games. But I do know the 3-game scoring record on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Back on February 11th, 2017, Charlie Bostic fired a 755 with games of 244, 279, and 232. We thought that scoring record would hold for a while. It held for just over 3 months when on May 21st, 2017, at the Roswell All-Star Varsity League's Tournament of Champions, Logan Fossum went 259, 278, 224 to break Charlie's 3-game scoring record with a 761 series. That record of 761 is now in jeopardy. Jesse Hamadi's last 2 games of 258 and 269 give him 527. That means he needs to bowl 234 to tie the record, 235 to break it. But Jesse's opponent, Aiden Bailey, isn't thinking about any of that. Aiden came to bowl with us on Prodigy last week for the first time and got upset by little Josh Greenberg as Josh was running the stepladder to claim his first singles title on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Today, Jesse Hamadi is looking to do the same thing, win 4 matches and snag his first singles crown on Prodigy. But Aiden is just looking for his first title of any kind on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. This kid is tournament tested. He won his first ever GYBT tournament, and as viewers of Prodigy saw last week, this kid can roll the rock. I look for this to be an explosive match between these two. Jesse is on fire, and Aiden is perfectly capable of matching him strike for strike. Aiden had the option and wants to finish last, so he'll start the match. And he starts with a solid strike. This guy threw a bunch of them in the qualifying. 237, 212 were his 2 scores to take first place in the qualifying. Makes it look easy. This guy's been making it look easy all day. We might have a strike-a-palooza on our hands here. Oh, Jesse gets a light one to go. The 2 gets tripped from behind. It's a little bit of an unusual type of rolled 2. Watch this. This is really a wall shot. The head pin will go to the wall, knock the 4 into the 5, and it gets the 2 as well. It's not how, it's how many. Jesse's really been taking his time all day. You know what? It's resulted in good scores, so hey, you do what you gotta do. There's that pesky weak 10. We've seen it a number of times. Seems like it's about the only thing he ever leaves. That's the shot that he threw on his 299 game on that very same lane. He left that same weak 10 on the 12th ball. But he covers the spare, no problem. And now Aiden Bailey with an opportunity to jump out to an early lead here. Oh, that's about as good as you can throw it. Just, I mean, a fraction high. The ball cuts through and just takes the 5 right off the 9. Oh, no. Well, I got to figure he would probably miss the 9 pin once out of about 100 tries. But we just saw that once. But he steamrolls the pins on the next ball. And now he'll try to just shake off that mistake in the second frame and just try to string some strikes. He's begging for it to get up. You saw that motion with his right hand, saying, come on, get up. It did. And now Jesse wiping off that hammer black urethane ball. You know, 3 years ago when Charlie Bostic threw his 755 on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, he was also throwing a hammer black urethane ball. He may want to get an insurance policy on that ball. He's really got it working today. Another solid strike for Jesse. We'll take another look at it. We've seen this type of strike a few times today. The 6-pin will go to the wall and come back and slap out the 10. Gotta like those. Well, we usually don't have action on the lanes to our left, but the bowling center has gotten so full today that they've got some people open play on lane 37 to our left. Looks like a group of ladies and a birthday party. Doesn't seem to bother Jesse in the least, as he just runs over him again. Take a look at his footwork. I want you to notice something here in his finish position. He will finish with his plant foot pointed slightly to the left. Reminds me of Nelson Burton Jr., Hall of Fame PBA player. What you don't want to see is for the slide foot to end up pointing to the right. Oh boy. Aiden through the nose and leaves a difficult split here. The 3, 4, 6, 10. Put the ball over to the right of the 3-pin, slide it over into the 4. The ball will get the 6 and 10. Well, this guy's a trick shot artist. He made 3 washouts on the show last week. And now he makes the 3, 4, 6, 10. Watch this again in slow motion. This is beautiful. You have to be a precision shot maker to make shots like that. And he likes it. He should like it. There's a solid strike. Now, Aiden does end up with his slide foot pointing to the right, but it's after the ball leaves his hand. He actually finishes up on his toes a bit, too. Here, take a look. His foot is still straight when he lets the ball go, and then he spins out after the ball is gone. You can get away with that. What you don't want is for the left foot to be pointing to the right as you let the ball go. Then you lose a bunch of leverage. That's why I like what Jesse does, pointing his left foot to the left slightly. Christian does it too. Some of the best players of all time did that. Boy, there's another one. That's 4 strikes and 5 frames. Jesse making a play for the all-time Prodigy Bowlers Tour scoring record. For 3 games, 761. He needs 235 to break the record. He's going to need some more of those to get there. But he seems pretty loose. For somebody who's chasing after a record, he's about as loose as you could hope to be. And he shreds the rack. Man, with all this commotion off to his left, it's surprising the focus he's able to maintain. Watch this. He'll hit in the half pocket, and then all the pins just move left. Everything just heads over to wipe out the 7-pin. Aiden trying to stay in it, but comes up high and leaves the 4. And we have seen this movie already a couple of times today. Christian threw a lot of good shots, only to see Jesse just race by him. Tristan bowled a pretty good game, but Jesse put 10 strikes up against him. And there's a 10-pin. So Aiden's playing highway patrol. 10-4, 10-4. Throws that backup ball to convert the 10. That's a good little trick to have in your bag of tricks, I gotta say. I wasn't so sure the first time I saw kids throwing backup balls at 10 pins, but I'm convinced now that if you've got that in your bag of tricks, it is just one more arrow in your quiver, and you never know when it might come in handy. Right now, Jesse's going at a 230 pace. If he gets a strike here in the 7th, he'll be going at a 240 pace, and he'll bring the scoring record within reach. Yeah, but he goes high. So now what that means is if he wants to get the record, he's going to have to catch a double somewhere and stay clean and get good count the rest of the way. Honestly, I'm not sure if he even knows that. And he may be better off not knowing. Different people react differently to that kind of pressure. Me, I like to know. But some don't. So once again, Jesse's going at a 229 pace. When we talk about pace, we mean strike, spare, strike, spare, strike, spare the rest of the way. Meanwhile, Aiden has a possible 217. Let's not forget that we still have a match going on here, and even though there's 42 pins separating them, Jesse, a mistake somewhere, an open frame, Aiden strikes out. All of a sudden, you're looking at a nail biter. Jesse crowded the head pin a little bit with that one, but down they went. And Aiden up quickly in the 8th. And once again, a good pocket hit, not rewarded. That's 3 in a row that could have been, but weren't. Good spare, though. But now, Aiden is down to his last couple of bullets. A possible 206. Jesse would have to open the rest of the way for Aiden to catch him. And there's the strike that he needed in the 9th. We'll see this again here. One of his best shots of the match. Just inside the third arrow, out to about 8 at the break point in the shred zone. Well, Jesse's going to take a little extra time, and he probably should here. This one is really the one he needs. If he doesn't strike here, he'll need to double in the 10th to get the record. If he strikes here, he can mark in the 10th with good count and break the scoring record. Again, he needs 235 to break the 3-game scoring record on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, held by Logan Fossum since May of 2017. There's a strike. And now Jesse is on pace to break the record. And as if on cue, Sandy Henderson has to walk down on top of the ball return to fetch a bowling ball. As we look again at that last strike, I mentioned we've got some open play going on to our left. A group of women with their birthday party, and one of their bowling balls got caught in the gutter in front of the sweeper. And there's Sandy Henderson fetching it for them. And Jesse wisely waiting for him to clear the area. So here's the deal. Jesse needs good count and a mark. And good count on the fill ball. And he'll break the record. A strike, and he could just about bowl blindfolded the rest of the way. Although I wouldn't recommend it. How about another solid strike? And that even gets applause from Aiden. That's the game winner. Jesse has won the 2020 George Washington Open. And now we'll get another look at the winning ball. Like so many he's thrown today, solid in the pocket, 10 in the pit. Now it's just a matter of will he get the record, and by how much. He needs 3 pins, and he'll have the record. Well, all right, there's 5. That's more than 3. Probably not what he'd hoped for, but it's enough. And I guess if you're going to leave that somewhere, there's no better place than right here. So he is going to break Logan Fossum's record set at the All-Star Varsity Tournament of Champions back in May of 2017. And he gets one more. And that's going to be a 243. You add them all up. 258, 269, 243. That is a 770 series the last 3 games for Jesse. And there's that messenger that Aiden was looking for earlier when he left those 10 pins. And Jesse accepts congratulations from Aiden for setting the new scoring record. As we take another look at that last strike Aiden threw. He bowled well this match. All of Jesse's opponents bowled well today. One more here, and yes, he's going to finish north of 200 anyway, with any kind of reasonable count here. And I think Aiden's going to show us his backup ball. And he leaves a ringing 7 with it. It's Jesse Hamadi's day on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. couple of new scoring records, and he will sign the coveted trophy pin. We'll visit with our winner right after this.
The new XS from AMF. It will destroy your old notions of what hook and hitting power can be.
What's even more exciting than bowling?
League bowling.
At Bowl America! Go for it, Eddie! We really need a strike!
I love to hear that cheering.
You'll hear it every week. Just join a Bowl America League. New leagues are forming now. So come to Bowl America, where thousands cheer.
Before we wrap things up for this week, I just want to remind you once again that we will not be taping Prodigy Bowlers Tour this weekend on February 29th, 2020. The bowling center has a big event for a police association booked that's going to take up the whole bowling center that afternoon. And the following week, on March 7th, there's a big youth bowling tournament taking place at Southern Lanes across town. This is the Southern Youth Bowling Clash, and there'll be scholarship money and storm bowling balls for the winners. So I expect a great many of the tournament bowlers in our area will be attending. So it seems unlikely we'll have a quorum to stage a Prodigy event that day. So it appears the next day certain that we'll be taping our next Prodigy event will be March 14th. That means our next episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour will drop on YouTube on March 20th. So hang in there until we return from this break. But as for today's show, well, I hope you had as much fun watching it as we had filming it and producing it. And I hope our non-winners today have an appreciation for what they saw go down today. You know, I remember the first time Jesse Hamadi appeared on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. It was episode 10 back on January 14th, 2017. And to say it was an inauspicious debut on Prodigy would be an understatement. Jesse threw not his first ball,
And look out.
not his first two balls,
Oh my goodness gracious, Jesse, the dreaded double gutter.
but his first three balls in the gutter before finally settling down.
And that one is too wide. Well now.
But fast forward to today, and Jesse Hamadi put on a shot-making exhibition the likes of which we've never seen before on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. It was a veritable strike-a-palooza. He not only had back-to-back 10-strike games in his second and third matches, but he put up 35 strikes in 40 frames. That's pretty juicy. He set a new scoring record for 4 games on Prodigy with 983. That's an average of 245. And his last 3 games totaled 770, an average of 256, and it beats Logan Fossum's old record of 761 for 3 consecutive games on Prodigy that stood for nearly 3 years. In the process, Jesse Hamadi also beat 4 strong opponents on the way to winning his first singles title on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And for that, he gets a trip to the winner's circle where he now gets to sign the coveted trophy pin.
Scores of 213, 258, 269, and 243 for a 983 set. That's a record. And your last 3 games, 258, 269, 243, total 770. That breaks Logan Fossum's previous high for 3 consecutive games on Prodigy of 761, set at the 2017 League TOC. Jesse Hamadi You are finally a singles winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Do I sign it?
Yes, you do get to sign the coveted trophy pin.
Just right on the top.
You know, I was reminiscing with somebody earlier. I remember the first time you appeared on Prodigy Bowlers Tour.
Oh, no.
Not your first ball, not your first 2 balls, but your first 3 balls all went in the gutter.
Yeah. Oh, my first 3 shots. Camera starts, boom, first 3 shots in the gutter.
You've gotten better.
A little bit.
So this was the same pair of lanes you shot 299 on in the league, what, 2 or 3 weeks ago now?
Yeah, same lanes that also bite up the ball, chip it.
But you seem to like this pair of lanes.
Also that ball.
Also that ball, yeah. Well, congratulations, that was impressive.